And Ian, I heard that when you were getting one of the treatments, a pharmacist said something to you, looking at what she was going to be giving you. What did the pharmacist say?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, just before I got the second shot, I asked if I could take a look at the syringe, see what it looked like. And she showed it to me, and she said, she's found it actually beautiful. The solution inside the syringe is this sort of translucent blue color. It really didn't look like what I expected. And she mentioned that, one time when she was preparing one of these vaccinations, she just sort of looked at the syringe and stared at it. She said it brought a tear to her eye just looking at it, because she was thinking, the weight of the world is on these vaccines right now, and no one knows if this is going to be the one. But, I think the people involved in the study clearly know that they're involved with something historical here.
More now on the hunt for a vaccine. As Elizabeth Cohen mentioned earlier, there is a key development on that front tonight. The drug maker Moderna says it's received FDA approval to begin a phase 2 trial of its potential coronavirus vaccine. Now, the WHO says it's one of 8 vaccines in clinical trials worldwide. One of those who took part in the company's phase 1 trial in Seattle is Ian Hayden. He joins us now. Ian, I don't know a lot of people who at age 29 would knowingly risk their own health to receive an experimental vaccine. Why'd you decide to do this, and how do you feel?
Yeah, well, actually, it turns out there were a lot of people who were willing to sign up for this study to do what I'm doing now. This study recruited 45 healthy people in the Seattle area initially, and actually thousands of people signed up to be in that group. My motivation for wanting to participate in this trial is pretty simple. It's just, this is one way I can help out, and I'm fortunate to be in good health. So if stepping up and taking part in this clinical trial could speed up a vaccine, that seems like the right thing to do.
I mean, I really admire that, Ian, and thank you for that, and thank you for being here. So you've received 2 doses, and you know that there's different doses that are being given as part of this trial. And I think you know that you're in the highest dose group of this vaccine. I'm wondering, so after the second dose, did you have any troubles? What sort of challenges have you had?
Yeah, I felt pretty good throughout this trial. I did feel a little crummy after the second dose there, but that passed, and I'm feeling well now. So by and large, I feel just like I did before I started this whole experience.
And Sanjay, can you just explain? I mean, Ian's been injected with a live virus.
No, actually, no, this is an interesting sort of viral program. And Ian and I'll say, we talked a little bit earlier about this trial. It's very interesting. I'll just say quickly, it's an mRNA. It's a messenger RNA vaccine. And that basically means it's a blueprint of a part of the virus. You put that blueprint in the body, and the body in and of itself sort of acts like a vaccine factory. The body's making the vaccine in this case. So it's different, and it's never been done before. It's been talked about, and they started this during previous coronavirus epidemics, but this has never been done before.
And what is, you've written about something called challenge studies, and essentially saying you would volunteer to actually receive, to be purposely exposed to COVID-19, to the virus, in order to try to speed up the process of finding a vaccine that works.
Yeah, there's a growing conversation around this idea of a challenge study. At the moment, no one is planning to do anything like this, but in the past, for other conditions, researchers have done these challenge studies where they expose volunteers to a virus, for example, when they want to know whether or not a vaccine really works. Challenge studies are obviously risky, right? You're exposing people to something that could harm them. They have the advantage, though, of speeding up testing. Normally, when you're testing a vaccine, you have to wait a long time and just observe whether or not vaccinated people get less sick than the people who received a placebo. With a challenge study, you might be able to short circuit that a little bit. Like I said, no one is planning to do this just yet, but there is a growing conversation about whether or not in these extraordinary times it might be time to consider that.
And Sanjay, something like that, there's obviously ethical questions about a challenge study.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. What would normally happen in phase 3 is that you're finding a population, an area of the world where the virus is circulating. You give some people the vaccine, other people you don't give the vaccine, and you see, does it make a difference? What Ian is talking about is saying, you know what, how about you purposely expose me to this? I've been vaccinated. I don't know if the vaccine works, but you purposely expose me to this. And there are ethical questions, but as Ian said, I mean, the reason that you might do it, and it has been done before, is to speed up this process because of the incredible demand in this case for the vaccine. So, you know, it's not happening yet. I mean, this hasn't been a decision that's been made, but it's something that people are starting to talk about.
And Ian, I heard that when you were getting one of the treatments, a pharmacist said something to you, looking at what she was going to be giving you. What did the pharmacist say?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, just before I got the second shot, I asked if I could take a look at the syringe, see what it looked like. And she showed it to me, and she said, you know, she's found it actually beautiful. The solution inside the syringe is this sort of translucent blue color. It really didn't look like what I expected. And she mentioned that, you know, one time when she was preparing one of these vaccinations, she just sort of looked at the syringe and stared at it. She said it brought a tear to her eye just looking at it, because she was thinking, you know, the weight of the world is on these vaccines right now, and no one knows if this is going to be the one. But, you know, I think the people involved in the study clearly know that they're involved with something historical here.
And it's now gone to phase 2. I mean, that's, you know, this is record speed. People may not realize, because it's the first time they're really following this, but it takes years sometimes to get to this point, and done it within months. I mean, Ian, I hear you, and I think a lot of people, other people will hear this and say, how can I become a part of this trial maybe? I don't know. If people now want to volunteer for these later phases, how do they do it?
Yeah, so the website clinicaltrial.gov is where you can find all the official information about these. And, you know, I'm taking part in a clinical trial. It's one of the early ones, but there will be many clinical trials for coronavirus vaccines and for other medicines. So if healthy people are interested in stepping up and participating, they should look into clinical trials that may be happening in their areas and see if they're able to sign up.
And where do things go from here for you?
So I'm involved in a phase 1 study. So following this, if everything looks safe, we're going to move on to phase 2, and it sounds like that's starting right now. There's still phase 3 after that. So it'll be additional testing that'll take months no matter what. And so, yeah, that's the next steps for this.
Well, it's extraordinary what you're doing, and I appreciate it as a human being, and I just think it's really admirable and brave, and thank you very much for doing it, and to everybody else who's volunteering to do these studies. Ian Hayden, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.